Hey fellas, your commissioner here, coming at you for a little week 11. Week 11, can you believe it, of NFL action? Of course, the football team was on bye, so they couldn't disappoint us last weekend. The basketball team, though, filled in quite nicely to fill that hurt and that pain on their behalf. So it was quite kind of Coach Cal to do that for us. Of course, we fall. I think we ended up losing by like 5 points to Baylor. Honestly, the game never really was that close. It seemed like Baylor pretty much had things in hand for the most part throughout the whole game. The 3-point shooting weren't prepared for the zone. I think all the coaches admittedly weren't prepared for the zone. So it is what it is. Long season, early. Coach Cal's teams usually struggle early. Got to have time to gel, to mesh. Is this a national championship team? Until you got to be able to shoot the three, I think, in this day and age to win a national championship. And hasn't really been Cal's MO in his career. So a lot of drivers, a lot of slashers, good, elite athleticism, above the rim kind of guys. But, you need some shooters. You got to have some shooters, right? So anyway, long season, I'm sure we'll be fine, right? I'm sure we'll be fine. Famous last words, right? Without further ado, I think it was a long video. I think the longest video of the week last year. Got the views up a little bit. It was encouraging for me to see that. Appreciate you guys tuning in. It really does mean a lot to me, and hopefully me doing this means a lot to you, right? So, without further ado, we'll get into a recap of last week's games. Start off with our screwball game of the week. The closest game of the week actually did live up to the hype, despite both of these two teams kind of drastically underperforming. One of them undershot their projection by almost over 40 points. Right on Branford doesn't contribute, doesn't score points. He falls to JD 115 to 111. JD somehow, some ways at 6-4. Craig falls to 6-4. JD. He's ripped. Right? This guy's ripped from last season. He's got a negative 106 point differential, right on pace with what Rip was last season. He has the third least amount of points scored in the league, third lowest points for in the league. But he has the middle of the pack points against. Stop if you heard this. It's Rip. It's Rip. Yeah, Scooby Doo. Pull off the McCockner's mask, and who's underneath? Oh, it's discount double check, or can you feel the love from last year? Right? It's uncanny that JD keeps getting away with this. And I think all of us bottom feeders who are needing that 6 seed by record to be low scoring in points for, JD's sitting there at the 5 spot, a game clear of Wilson, who we'll get into the specifics of that. But, for Craig, just extremely disappointing week for him. His lowest scoring week in quite some time, I believe. Yeah, lowest scoring week since week 4, whenever he scored 85 points, third lowest scoring week for him on the season. He'd been on quite a good little tear, at least points wise. 135. He's basically been averaging 140. He's coming off a 158 point week last week against Wilson in the Battle of the Bella Vista Bandits. Say that 5 times fast, I dare you. But, Kyron had a chance to win the game. Matthew Stafford, boom. Kyron coming out of the backfield, boom. Could have get touchdown. Matthew didn't see him. Getting old, maybe. Vision check, I don't know. Cost Craig the game. Kincaid got dinged up. I don't know if he played the whole game or not. If he left the game early, I'm not 100% sure. It looks like he didn't play the whole game. Javonte Williams has been cucked out of his role by a rookie, Audric Estime, the little bowling ball. 1 carry. He had 1 carry. Yikes. And, Craig, this is where Craig's step is going to fall back to 500. No, Craig. Because, Corum, Kendrick Bourne, Josh Palmer, he's got JSN, right? So, he slots JSN back in his lineup. It's okay, right? But if one of those, Connor's been on a tear. I mean, he has been an absolute beast this season. Top 10 running back on the year. Of course, coming up on his bye. Been averaging, 18 to 20 points a game, really. Is the injury going to hit the worst time, or is he going to make it through a season unscratched, unscathed? I'll believe it when I see it. Josh kind of came back down. Zay obviously crashing back down. QJ catches a touchdown to kind of save his game or save his week. For JD, not much better, right? I mean, both of these guys, below 120 points. Not good weeks from either of these guys. Neither one of them really deserved to win, to be quite honest. Kyler kind of bounced back, had a really good game against the Jets. But he got forced into starting Tim Patrick. At least he had that and wasn't forced on a late-breaking bank it on Nico playing and then being scratched. Taysom Hill, he played him ineligibly. Obviously, we had a lot of hubbub about that at the beginning of the season. That was just because it was me. Let's just call a spade, right? Nick threw a fit because it was me who picked him up, because I'd thrown fits in seasons past. If JD had picked him up earlier in the season, if Wilson had picked him up earlier in the season, we never would have even talked about what Taysom Hill's position was. We wouldn't have. It wouldn't have come up. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. But it is what. I don't know why he played Hill over Hawkinson. Especially with Hawkinson having a decent debut. 6 points. Looked like he was not limited at all. Really that decision kept this game closer than it needed to be. You can make the argument, well, he didn't follow the rules. Should he just not be, should he lose those points? Craig wins. Personally, I'd love to see that, but nobody else in the league seemed to think that. People seem to think it just slap on the wrist. I get it. I understand. So it is what it is. But, JD, again, kind of razor thin on the depth there. There's nobody on his, bench that you'd really, I take that back. Obviously you're assuming Hawkinson's in, right? You're assuming Nico's in. You don't really have a ton of faith in, Aaron Jones is banged up a little again a little bit, but, Rashad White's been on quite the tear. Him and Bucky have been, both of those guys have been startable and getting great production out of them the last really 4 weeks. So, really that's kind of a byproduct of, well, there's no Mike Evans, there's no Chris Godwin, and who else is, they're getting work. So lesser offenses would crumble under that. But Tampa Bay somehow finds a way. So, whatever. Congrats to JD, 6-4. The luck's got to turn, I hope. Sorry, JD, but if you're in, I'm not in, right? But I'm not going to catch Craig. I'm not going to catch Wilson, probably. I'm not going to catch Blaine. I need these guys in on record. You're the guy, buddy. You and Duncan. I need both of you guys to fall down. So speaking of Duncan, he gets a great win, 136-120 against All You Need Is Love. Rip falls to 3-7 on a 3-game losing streak, lowest amount of points scored in the league. Middle of the pack points against, so it could be worse, honestly. You know what I mean? For Duncan, congrats to him. 4-game win streak, hottest team in the league right now. He's got Tyreek, who's banged up, but somehow fought through it and got a touchdown, even though he didn't play him. I get it. Kate Otten, a little bit more of a down-to-earth game from him, but like I said, Travis Kelce's been unlocked. Seems like Calvin Ridley bitched and complained enough to where he's getting the ball thrown his way consistently. They don't really have any other weapons there anyway. BTJ dinged up. Mac Jones, not a good situation there. Terry's great. You got Terry, Calvin, Tyreek. if he can stay healthy and get over that. He's got torn ligaments in his wrist. I mean, it's not just going to go away, but can he manage that throughout the season without Odell trying to take his fucking head off? You know what I mean? The running back room is obviously very concerning, right? You don't want to rely on Tajay Spears. Ramondre is going to be up and down. Jacobs is dinged up off the bye, but probably will be okay. The fuck? I don't go away. Jerome Ford's done. He's got Jacoby Myers as well. I mean, he's got 4 good wide receivers. He's got 2 startable tight ends. Brock Purdy's been great for him this season as well. 35, 34, whatever points the last couple weeks. So I think Duncan's 6-4. I think, he's looking legit despite his low point totals. He's kind of turned the corner this last month. Obviously, he's been winning a ton. And it's just a matter of, can these guys stay healthy, and can they get some consistent production? There's still question marks. I mean, this team is, it's probably not a championship team, right? But in a given week, he's got guys that can explode, and if that lines up, you never know. So, and for Rip, I mean, valiant effort, 120, above his season average of 114 points. Brees has kind of been up and down. Chuba apparently is just the guy. I mean, they drafted Jonathan Brooks early, right? 2nd round, something like that, if I'm not mistaken. He has yet to play from the torn ACL. Minor work probably at this point that he'll get this season, especially with Chuba playing the way he's been playing. Goff, 5 interceptions, right? That's who he is. Obviously, Love was on bye, bouncing back and forth between those guys. I think I said last week is going to be quite the pickle, quite the conundrum to try to figure out on a week-to-week basis. Juwan Jennings, gosh, I mean, 18 points. He's back from injury, just, kind of right where he left off. Obviously not the 48-point smackdown that he gave in week 3, but definitely just seems like he's legit. Seems like he's going to get consistent production. I mean, all that was without a touchdown, 7 of 11, 93 yards. Seems like he's going to be, producing on a consistent basis. Granted, Tampa's defense is one of the worst in the league, if not the worst in the league. So take that with a little bit of a grain of salt. Pitts was mediocre, right? ETN, I think that whole Jags offense is just going to be kind of gross. Kind of probably want us to stay away from that for the rest of the season. Pierce he got a long touchdown, right? But, A-Rich is back, so good luck figuring that out. Addison, again, kind of back to irrelevance. He's kind of like a Jalen Waddle type of guy to me. Maybe just a little bit higher chance of booming, but, not good. Kupp was good. Jameson and his return was okay, right? It's just, this team doesn't inspire confidence, and you hate to point the finger, and usually whoever's the worst regular season team never wins the horse ass, right? But if you had to pick, gun to my head, right? I just don't see a world in which, obviously Rip's not going to make the playoffs. I think that's a very, very safe assumption to make. And I think it's going to be very difficult for him to win. He's going to have a bye more likely than not. So he's got one chance. He's got 2 chances to win 1 game. Is that going to happen? Is it not going to happen? You tell me, right? History would tell you not, but we'll see. Next here, we got the two-tone hog mollies against Keeping the Faith. Nick gets a great win for him, 130 to 110. Bounce back, getting himself to 5-5. Points for, still not great. I expected more from Nick's team this week, and obviously we had our bet. I think if one of us had gone 2-0 against the other, buy the other one a nice dinner. So Nick got himself out of a dinner because obviously I won earlier this season. It's a huge game. I mean, the loser of this game was falling to 4-6, and the winner was getting to 5-5. Arguably maybe should have been the game of the week. I just knew that my team. I knew that was a false flag. 145. I told you guys, hammer my under. Nobody listens to me. I should have done it my damn self. I just knew that it was too good to be true. My wide receivers have been playing too good And my running backs, they all had juicy matchups, and they all did admirably. They did fine, 16 from Tracy, 19 from CMC in his return, 16 from JT. But really, I needed those guys to be scoring 25 points. I mean, Tracy was the only one who got a touchdown. No touchdowns for McCaffrey. No touchdown for JT. Hunter Henry got outshined by Austin Hooper. Austin Hooper had 10 points, something like that. Hunter Henry didn't get a catch till almost damn near the end of the game. 3 points, right? Parker Washington, I subbed him out 15 minutes, I think, before kickoff, thinking I'm going to be really smart. I read something that Minnesota had given up the most terrible against slot receivers, basically. He didn't get a target. He played like 6 snaps. Basically didn't play the whole game. They basically ran 2 tight ends every single possession. So that was fun, and the only saving grace is the fact that if I had kept Ricky in, I would have ended up losing on Monday night by like 2 points, probably on Jalen's last catch of the game. And I just don't know that that's a pill that I could have swallowed. I don't know that I wouldn't have obviously had a choice. It would have been forced down my gullet regardless. But it would have been a tough pill. So if I'm going to lose, I'd rather lose by 20 points. I'd rather lose regardless of what stupid lineup decisions I may or may not make. But obviously that hurts in the long run because Wilson and Blaine are separated by 6 points, right? For that, these margins are going to get razor thin, I think, to potentially get into that 6th seed based on who I may or may not be competing with, who all of us may or may not be competing with. And man, 18 points could make the difference. 0. Parker put up a goose egg, right? And 18 points, who knows? You look back on this one 4 weeks from now and see. But, for Nick, obviously, as I said, right, as so often happens, the guy he missed out on, Tua, scored 17 points this week. Danny got almost 22. Got himself a rushing touchdown despite throwing 2 interceptions. He had 12 passing first downs, and it's just insane. And 3 rushing first downs. That's 6, 7. That's like 8 points almost right there, right? So, gosh, why are you guys still sending emails? It's 5:30. Anyway, obviously I was kind of behind the 8 ball early. I knew it was going to be an uphill battle. Chase Brown obviously got a great Thursday night performance out of him. Mark Andrews, 44 points combined between those 2 guys on Thursday night. He picks up Theo Johnson. Theo Johnson did nothing all game until the last drive and ended up getting like 9 points the last couple drives. So, Waddle still is not an answer. Nick's got an incomplete team, right? Jaden Reed obviously on the bye, Tucker Kraft on bye. You might see another team that goes kind of 2 tight ends. With the way the Waddle's been playing, obviously you probably throw Jaden Reed in there. But at the flex, maybe if Estime is the real deal and is going to be the guy, Brian Robinson maybe should be back healthy. Kraft, Tillman's been playing really well. Nick's really kind of got an embarrassment of riches there at the wide receiver room. And he's got solid running. He's just got a solid overall team, right? He's 5-5, right? He's about middle of the pack in points for, slightly below average, I believe. Appropriate. He doesn't have a quarterback. He's playing the streaming game every week. Maybe he's going to rely on Bo Nix. Maybe that's his guy. Hey, he's been playing okay, right? Been playing pretty good. I'd like to say that maybe there could be a trade to be had, but I don't know. I don't know that he needs it. Maybe JT for Marvin. Who says no, right? JT for Marvin, Nick, maybe. Not this week, obviously. I've only got two running backs, but we'll see. Just keep it in mind, right? Trade deadline. Obviously, you can make trades this week. And then up until the kickoff of whatever game it is that's another great thing about Sleeper. ESPN, for whatever stupid reason, had a noon Eastern sharp deadline on the Wednesday for trade deadlines. Why would you not just have it locked during that week whenever the players plays and they're locked into your roster? Then you can't trade them anymore. Why have this arbitrary, you're just taking away multiple days of being able to trade? So, even the Thursday night kickoff, that was honestly in part two, not having to manually manipulate because of ESPN. You can trade all the way up until Sunday for week 12 for all I care, as long as the player is not locked on your roster, as long as they've not played. If a player has played already, regardless of what week it is, to be quite honest, they can be involved in a trade, but that won't be processed until the following week. Obviously, with week 12, we don't have any trades after that. So once that player is locked, they're done in week 12. So anyway, quick update on that. Next here, living on Burrow time. Another monster week from Hawk. 190 points. His highest point total on the season. This guy scored 180, 188, 190 now. Blaine just basically, this was a lost week for him. He knew right off the bat. Hawk had 120-something points on Thursday night, from Burrow had 48, Chase had 59. I don't know that I've ever seen a point total that. I don't know if we've ever had anybody get over 60. Just insane. 11 catches, 264 yards, 3 touchdowns, 8 first downs. All 11 of his catches were either a first down or a touchdown. That's hard to do, folks. Pickens obviously had a monster game too. Who else on Thursday night, right? Derrick Henry had 15 points. Mostert kind of underwhelmed, but Kittle keeps doing his thing. Leggett was okay. Josh Downs was good, but now Josh Downs with A-Rich has been bad, right? Leggett's kind of so-so. Mostert not great. How does Hawk weather the storm that's coming for him? How much can his top 3 dogs, Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow, and Derrick Henry, carry him? Because those are the 3 guys that are going to have to do the heavy lifting, and Pickens, right? And Pickens and Kittle. I'll throw Kittle in there too, but really it's those main 3 guys that's been getting Hawks wins and carrying his team. In my opinion, he doesn't really have a second running back. In my opinion, he doesn't really have a solid, reliable wide receiver 3. He doesn't really have a solid, reliable flex. And these are concerning things, right? These are concerning things whenever you're talking about the playoffs. Now, Hawks in a great position, right? He's 6-4. All these fat points that Burrow and Jamar Chase have been putting up put him with the second most points for in the league. He's clearing third place by probably like almost a smooth 100 points, damn near. So it's he would basically have to lose every single game the rest of the season. Is that going to happen? Probably not. But this is the potential, right? Even if he doesn't have those other pieces popping, this is what those guys can do, right? And they're not going to score probably this many points again the rest of the season. Maybe they will. They probably won't. But they can get close to that. And even if they get close to that, 160, it's pretty good. They can beat anybody on any given week, even Connor, right? So, and for Blaine, just a little bit of a disappointing week points-wise for him. Obviously, he had to play Jonnu Smith with Njoku on bye. Olave's probably done for the year. Pacheco is designated to return from IR, TBD on when he'll actually be back. Mahomes looks like maybe he's figuring it out a little bit. Bijan's on quite the tear. Najee mid RB2, right? Puka's gotten going. He's going to be great. Amon-Ra's great. Nobody's denying he's got 2 great wide receivers. He's got a great running back. He's got okay to good, sometimes great quarterback. He's got a good, solid tight end. 3rd wide receiver, what do you do, right? Tank Dell probably. How's that going to work with Nico back? The flex, it's truly just a coin toss. It's a coin flip, right? I mean, sometimes it's going to pop, sometimes it's not. And more times than not, it's not, right? So I think, Blaine, he's got a good point total. It's certainly put him in a good position, but I think he's going to be in for a dogfight the rest of the season. And I hope he keeps winning games because of his point total. I want him to be in on record, so it makes it a better chance for some of the rest of us. But I think it's going to be tough. It's going to be a dogfight for him the rest of the season. But he has something to rely on. As long as he keeps scoring points and keeps outscoring Wilson, he's going to be in. So, and speaking of Wilson, speaking of Wilson, he wins 133-85. The Golden Path falls to 3-7. One of our two teams below 100 points this week. Savoy undershot his projection by 60 points. He was projected to score 145. Glad that he got this out of the way this week in advance of playing me, because I just know what's going to happen next week, but we'll get to that. Obviously, Lamar continues to carry Wilson's team. He's the QB1 on the season, not even close. Overall, number one highest scoring position on the season. 45 points on Thursday night. 33, 36, 47, 32, 47. 30. This guy's worst game has been 26 points all the way back in week 2. Other than that, he hasn't scored below 30 points. That's great. That's elite production. It looks like Lamar's figured something out. MVP year. He's got some tougher matchups on the horizon, but nothing's shown you that he's going to stop producing at the level that he's been producing. Hey, there's Erica. You see her lights there? Let's see if you can see her pull up in the driveway. Yep, there it is. The Mazda CX-5. Saquon, not a great game from him, but just solid production from all that. Wilson just got a team of solid guys, and then Lamar, you get that elite guy. Hey, there's Erica. Kind of scared the shit out of me, to be honest. Huh? I can't see you. You want me to turn the light on? Yeah. All right. Yeah, first guest appearance. Can you not? You can see you can see you look like a ghost. You can see me? Yeah, I can see you on this. Yeah, you got yeah. Now I can. Huh? Yeah, that's you. Yeah. How about that? All right, first appearance for Erica. Took 11 weeks, and that's something that's got to be a record. Wilson's just got an extremely solid stable of guys. And whenever you've got that elite production from the quarterback, you're going to win games. Now, Wilson's had a bad string of luck. He's got the most amount of points against him, I believe, on the season. Second most behind Blaine. These Blaine and Wilson are really very, very similar teams. Different ways, but similar. 1349 for Blaine, 1344 for Wilson. Wilson has 13. Wilson, that's crazy. Wilson's points for is 1344.95. His points against is 1344.85, and he's 5-5. That's almost some beautiful symmetry right there, fellas. I know Connor will appreciate that, right? Numbers guy. Hey, there she is in the flesh. So, got silk press, got her hair done. Yeah, it's long. What?
Well, yes. Look at how long my hair is, y'all.
Yeah.
Can y'all believe this?
Yeah.
This is all me, y'all. This is
all natural.
Hair. All natural.
Yeah.
It's super long.
Yeah.
But anyways, get back to what you were saying.
For Blaine, he's got 1362.99 against, right? So, and Blaine's 4-6, and Wilson's 5-5. That's the difference right there, really, those points against. For Savoy, not good, right? 85 points. Jaden Daniels, nothing. Dobbins, nothing. Solid. Devontae, 13 targets, 31 yards. Yikes. Hopkins, he's got all these old guys. Demarcus Robinson finally let him down just so he can rise from the ashes next week. I'm sure this week rather. Oh God, I can't wait for that. Pollard, pretty much everybody on his team scored 10 points, right? So not good, not what you want. When you look at his bench, not much better. Warren, 12 points. Stroud had 17. Higgins still hurt. Probably will be back this week. Maybe. I mean, they got their bye next week, so, who knows. But, yeah, anyway. And then our dog shit, they're all all over themselves. Pass out, piss on themselves. I don't think he's done that, but just large, chunky monkey human being. Team of the week, the father figure, 75.65 points. Not good. The loss of the Cowboys is clearly hurt Josh's team here. No Dak Prescott. Jake Ferguson only had 5 points. CeeDee Lamb had 10 points somehow. 6 catches for 21 yards. Wandell kind of bounced back, but still only 12 points. Douglas, 10. Devontae been very, very much up and down this season after having 2 really good weeks back-to-back, 22, 20. He had his second worst game of the year. He was forced to start Jaleel McLaughlin, right, with Kenny Walker on bye. He really needs more running back. He needs running back depth. He won't do it. He won't trade. You guys know this. Ford's been hurt too many times, and so, he takes that as well. I'm just never going to trade again, so I can't be hurt again. And instead, he is going to be hurt, just not by trading. He's going to be hurt by having a dog shit roster. That just kind of, Kamara's doing what he can do. How much longer can he hold up under the workload he's been having? You're talking, he had 22 touches. This guy's 29 going on 30. He's been great. He's been top 2 running back, number 2 running back overall. But how much longer can he keep that up? Quarterback with Tua, you're going to love that. I promise you, if you stick with him, right? Pittman, it's just not good. And this is very gratifying to me because, I got a lot of shit for that Neighbors trade, what ended up being Malik Neighbors. But ultimately, what that trade ended up doing for me is it gave me the power to take DK Metcalf. Because if I didn't make that trade, there's a very, very strong possibility, whether anybody thinks that or not, that Josh would have taken DK and I would have been forced to take Michael Pittman. And I didn't want Michael Pittman because I knew he's not good because Anthony Richards can't throw the ball. Okay? So it's one of the... And plus I got Brock Bowers. Come on. Right? I know my white tight ends. Right? 2 years in a row. Rookie white tight ends. I got them.
And quarterbacks.
Well, I don't do... Well, who's my quarterback now? I guess it's Baker and Justin Herbert.
You always get white quarterbacks.
The running quarterbacks just, I like traditional, right? Pocket passer.
And that's why you're not going to be as great as your team could be.
Speaking of running quarterbacks, Connor, not a great week for him, but still 132. That's a bad week for him, right? Some teams would kill to get 132 points. Jalen Hurts, obviously, has been on quite the tear. 38 points. 40 points, 45 points, the last 3 weeks. He's just dominating. He's getting at least 1 rushing touchdown every single week. This week he got another 2 rushing touchdowns. I feel so bad for Saquon. They get down there to the new earrings. Yeah. They get down there to the goal line and Saquon doesn't get it. They just push. Saquon would easily be scoring these touchdowns, but Jalen Hurts is a selfish player. He's a selfish guy. He doesn't care about his teammates, and he wants to get all the glory and all the stats for himself. So it's quite sad to me to see. But, hey, that is what it is. Welcome to this younger generation, right? What can you do for me? Not what can I do for you, right? So, and Mixon, ho-hum, 19-point game, just continues to be a workhorse. HN, not great, but still, he is the guy there, clearly established himself as the workhorse. JJ, Neighbors, not great, but between those trio, Jefferson, Neighbors, London, it's the best trio in the league. McBride's coming on, another 13 points. Oh, golly, just stop. It's 5:45. Why am I still getting work stuff? People, go home. Go home. And his bench isn't good, but he's got Mike Evans coming back. He'll probably slot him into the flex. Chubb, potentially Dowdle. So yeah, I mean, Punk's still kind of the odds-on favorite in my opinion, but motherfucker. All right. Jeez. Okay. So anyway, let's go ahead here with another sickos, right? 11 waiver claims. Woo! 11 waiver claims this week. Today, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, the bell of the ball, 27 fab to Wilson. Duncan was in for 2 on him, so, overbid quite a bit. But Wilson had quite a bit of money left around. I think he's down there in the mix now with the rest of us. Really, Savoy's been keeping his fab afloat by winning bets. I think he's undefeated. Maybe he's lost one. I'm not sure. He's definitely going to win both of those postseason fab bonuses going into next year of the most bets and the most winnings. Yeah, I mean, Hawk's really the only one who's got above 25 fab left, really. 27. Ford, I guess, thinks that Sussy for Russie is the answer. He picks him up for 8. JD was in for 7, so perfect bid for Ford. Sniped him. Hawk was in for 1. Craig picks up Gus Edwards. This was the most action on any player this week. Nick was in for 5. Hawk's in for 4. Duncan's in for 2. Blaine was in for 1. JD picks up Geno Smith for 7. Only person in on him. Maybe with Geno, he's been pretty good, honestly. I just chose to go in a different direction. I wasn't really liking what I was seeing with his matchups and the buys and DK being out, but DK's back. What are you doing? Nobody needs to be seeing that.
I was just trying to see if he really chose one there to show up.
I don't know which one it is. All right, yeah. It's just for me. They don't get to see that.
It's nothing to see. It's just shorts.
Okay, you know what you're doing. All right, let's not get it twisted. Okay. Blaine picks up 80 Mitchell for 6. Nick was in for 2. Craig was in for 1. Craig's in on a lot of these guys, just throwing little darts, I guess. Who knows? A lot of contingencies, I'm sure. Been there, done that. JD picks up John Mechie for 5. Nick had Charbonnet for 4. Craig was in for 1. Duncan picks up Rashad Bateman for 2. Blaine was in for 4, but he had already picked up 80 Mitchell instead. Plunk picks up Will Disley, who's quietly having a pretty solid season. Not great, but in the wasteland of the tight end scape that's been out there, not pretty good. Hawk picks up Justice Hill for 1. Beats out Craig and JD also for 1. They probably had other guys, I'm sure. And then Craig picks up Keyshawn Boutte, who's been, okay, not great, but for 1 fab. So just sicko, guys. Sicko. Can't believe it. Like I said, I would have bet anything that this would have been the week where we didn't see anybody get picked up. So, okay. All right. So, next here, we'll go ahead and get into preview of Week 11. Start off with myself versus the Golden Path. I'm currently projected to win 155 to 145. Great game to take the total under. You take the teams under as well. Take them all. Under for me, under for Savoy, under for the total. And you'll probably make yourself some cash. Because, both of us kind of have up and down, some green, some orange, some red matchups. Those don't really mean shit, so as I've come to find out. I've had plenty of green matchups and not done well. Parker Washington, right? That's what I got. I just got too cute. But, obviously CMC is bad. His point total is extremely inflated. DK hopefully I hope, be back. Depends if I start Pearsall or not. I'll probably bench him and he'll have another 18 points. But, like I said, just Savoy scoring so low last week. When his projection pretty much season long has been around 144, and sometimes he gets close and sometimes he doesn't get anywhere close. I just am worried. Like I said, especially T. Higgins on Sunday night, you better hope that gets cleared quickly. Because you don't want to have to make that decision coming down on Sunday night, whether that's going to work out or not. But, Thursday night quarterback, I'm sure he's going to beat my ass with that. It seems like everybody who plays Thursday night players do very well against me. Whenever I play Thursday night players, they don't do shit. So, that just kind of is what it is. It's fun to see. Like I said, I'm sure T. Higgins is going to be back. He's going to play. He's going to come back and score. That's weird. Trying to look at his past week 10. It's not there. It's like he doesn't even exist. Look at that. Look at that. So he's got, come on. So, just gone. Okay. I guess I could look at his game log. Let's see. Spending too much time on this. Yeah, I mean, he's probably going to come back and score 20 points. I wouldn't be mistaken. So anyway, I don't know. Savoy's obviously desperate in need for. I mean, he needs to win out to have any prayer of potentially making the playoffs, and even then, it's probably done for him, right? I need to keep winning. I could still potentially get in off record. Only one game out. Just need to keep winning. Need to win. So I'm gonna go with myself on that one. Next here, you got Flo's Fury versus the Dirty Birds of War. Connor's projected to win 155 to 142. This one should be close, I think. Oh, man. Mike Gesicki versus Will Disley at the tight end. Oh, boy. Yeah, I mean, you gotta play Laporte if he's healthy, but he's banged up. Who knows? I mean, if ever there was a week to get Connor, this is it, right? I mean, no Neighbors, no McBride. Mike Evans still isn't back yet. Forced to rely on Odunze and guys like Will Disley. I could see Jalen having a little bit worse of a game than he's had the last 3 weeks as well. Let's go with Wilson to pull off the upset. Connor's he's not untouchable. I think if this is a week to get touched, this is the week. So this is the week. We'll go with Wilson on that one. Next, doesn't contribute versus All You Need Is Love. It would be hilarious to me if Rip finally breaks his losing streak and beats Craig and puts him on a 2-game losing streak and 1 game closer to 500. Despite him disappointing in his, screwball game of the week. Did I talk about the screwball game of the week? I did. Yeah, I don't know if I mentioned it, but the screwball part of it. But I think Craig's going to win this one. I think that's Craig should win this one easy, right? If you don't, panic alarm, hit the panic button. Hit the panic button, Craig. Next, Kickers Lives Matter, Father Figures, Ford stinks, he's fat. We'll go with Duncan, keep that hot streak rolling. Almost the game of the week here. 2 teams that are 6-4, 2 teams that are projected 147 to 147, living on Burrow time, and the McConkers. Would have been if JD wasn't in the game of the week last week. I think he's also been in the game of the week before, earlier this season. I think he's a fraud. I think Hawk's the real deal. No real significant buys for Hawk this week. JD doesn't have Kyler. He doesn't have Rashad White. Is Amari going to play this week? Maybe looks like he's going to return. Aaron Jones, Nico, question, right? Hawk wins this one. And then that brings us to our game of the week. Our Sugar in the Raw Turbinado Sugar Cubes game of the week. Sugar in the Raw is a product of Cumberland Packing Company out of the great state of Brooklyn, New York. Hey, I'm walking here, right? I haven't given you the Brooklyn act. I don't even know. I'm gonna stay away from that one, right? You want the accent? Watch The Sopranos. Rooted in Brooklyn, Brooklyn's raw, right? It's America. It's the Ellis Island. It's the gateway to America for all the Irish and the Italian and European Americans back in the day. That's what you get, right? You get raw. They got it raw. We gave it to them raw, and they make sugar in the raw up there. So, anyways, this is just I got this for my old fashions. 1 cube is 20 calories. Obviously, it's basically made up of carbohydrates and sugar. Who would have guessed that? But anyway, I guess this is how you open this. Sealed for your safety. It wasn't really sealed. Turbina, sugar in the raw sugar cubes, the official sugar cube of the Bring That Wood League. And it's quite appropriate that I'm doing a sugar cube for the Swamp Donkeys versus the Two-Tone Hog Mollies. If I could get this open. Can I have some scissors? Oh, never mind.
Oh, there's some in there. Right there, right?
Yes.
They were in the...
So, horses, right? Donkeys are basically like... Donkeys are... Oh, maybe I'll do those later. Donkeys are basically like, horses. So, yeah, sugar cube, right? Horses eat sugar. I'm sure donkeys eat sugar. So, cheers. Yeah, I mean, it tastes like sugar, pretty much. So, I would have guessed. Anyway, Swamp Donkeys, Two-Tone Hog Mollies. Blaine's fighting for his life, 4-6. Nick is lucky probably to be 5-5. Blaine's projected to win 142-134. Battle of the quarterbacks. You got Patty Mahomes versus Bo Nix. Obviously, Nix has a much more advantageous matchup. Buffalo's very solid team, but Patty's been playing better of late, right? 39, 31, 38, 26. I just can't in good conscience ever pick Bo Nix. So we'll go with Patty Mahomes there, especially against the upcoming GOAT, right? Battle of the running backs. You got Bijan Robinson, Najee Harris, runs with jeans on, versus Chase Brown and James Cook. Extremely tough matchups for Nick this week. I mean, Chargers and KC, top 2 run defenses in the league. I think both of these guys are way overprojected, to be quite honest with you. I think they'll be lucky to get to 10 points unless they just get dump off after dump off, which is very possible. So I'm going to have to go with Blaine in that one. Battle of the wide receivers. You got St. Brown, Puka Nacua, and Tank Dell versus Garrett Wilson, Jaden Reed, and Cedric Tillman. Obviously, Marvin Harrison on bye, and Jalen Waddle's found his way to the bench. You just can't play this guy. I mean, he's just not been good. He's wide receiver 62 on the season. Sun God and Puka, right again. Blaine. I mean, it's clear, right? Battle of the tight end. You got Njoku versus Andrews. We'll go with Andrews in that one. Battle of the flex. You got Xavier Worthy versus Estime. And wouldn't that be something that Peyton just kind of just pulled a trick and said, hey, Estime was starting last week and now it's back to Javonte. Or even better, it's Jaleel McLaughlin. I could see him pulling that shit, to be quite honest with you. So that's a little concerning to me. I understand him not wanting to play Robinson against a tough Philly defense on Thursday night. He doesn't really have many other options, but I don't know that Estime gives him the best chance. But Xavier Worthy, if he doesn't get a touchdown, he's worthless, right? He's worthless. He's not going to have Pacheco. You can't start Algier. You're not going to start A.D. Mitchell. You're not going to start Tank Bigsby. He's come crashing back down to reality and has been dinged up the last couple weeks. You're not going to start Tavian Wicks. So you just got to kind of cross your fingers, hope for the best. I'm going to push that. That's gross, that whole thing. For Nick to get the advantage, Nick's is going to have to have a probably a 35-point game. Patty's going to have to underwhelm like he was doing earlier in the season. He's gonna need his running backs to hit. I don't think they will. I think Blaine's gonna win this game. I think Blaine's gonna get himself to 5-6, and drop Nick to 5-6 as well. I think that cluster in the middle is just gonna stay clustered up for the last 3 weeks here. We got 3 weeks left, fellas, or four games left, right? 4, 3. What is it? Why can I not see past week? What is going on with Sleeper? 4 games left, right? 11, 12, 13, 14. Yeah, 4 games left. So it's coming quickly. It is coming quickly. And it's nut crunching time, right? Make or break. We'll see what teams are really made of these last 4 weeks. Anyways, that's all I got this week, fellas. Hogs are playing Texas this week. Should get crushed, I'm sure. I think we're playing basketball tonight, right, against Troy, so that'll be exciting. Hopefully we can bounce back, get a good, solid, easy win, I hope. And anyways, good luck this week. Stay safe out there. And as always, woo pig.